everyone, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I wanted to do something fun, and we're going to be ranking 4th gen girl groups. I know that there are so many different 4th gen girl groups out there, so I can't really cover them all, but I chose what I believe to be the 15 most prominent ones, or more like the 14 most prominent ones, plus GWSN, who is my own personal choice. And I'm going to separate this video into 15 different sections and start at number 15, which is going to be my least favorite of the 15, and end at number 1, which is going to be my favorite. And in each section, I'm going to be doing a little bit of commentary on the group and be talking about why I put them where I did on the ranking. I'll be taking into account a lot of different factors, but the two main ones are going to be their music and my own personal bias. So just a warning right now, if you're not open to listening to extremely biased opinions, I suggest you click off right now. But of course, I'm not going to be hateful towards any of these groups either. So that's about everything that I needed to say regarding disclaimers, so I guess without further ado, let's talk about the group that I put in last place. So in last place we have NMIXX, and even if you don't agree with me, I feel like you can understand where I'm coming from with this one. They only have 2 songs, both of which were very experimental and very divisive, and unfortunately I end up on the side of K-pop fans that don't like Tank nor O.O, so I can't justify putting NMIXX above last place when I like 0% of their discography. I will give credit where credit is due, and I do think they are one of the most talented 4th gen girl groups. I think their vocals are insane and they're so amazing at dancing. However, that just doesn't matter to me that much when all I'm gonna do when it comes to interacting with groups that I don't stan is listen to their music on Spotify. You know, your dancing skills won't make your music sound better, at least not by itself, and you know, I guess NMIXX's 2 songs are prime examples of that. I don't have too much else to say, so let's move on to number 14. In number 14 we have Weeekly, and don't get me wrong, before Venpara, Weeekly had no bad title tracks. However, they've also never had any good B-sides. And this isn't even a case of me not listening to all of their music because they only have like 5 mini albums, so it's not that hard to get through. But even though I've listened to every single piece of music under their catalog, I have not saved a single song that wasn't a title track. It's not like their B-sides didn't make sense with their image, because when they were still doing the whole schoolgirl thing, all of their B-sides were very cohesive. But I could not find a single one that I didn't find to be extremely boring. Maybe it's just a matter of they don't have enough funds to really invest into their B-sides, so they put all of their resources into the title tracks, and I can totally respect that. But for me to really get into a group, they need to have at least a couple of good B-sides per album, and Weeekly have never really done that, at least in my opinion. So even though their title tracks are so good, and I listen to them pretty frequently honestly, because of their B-sides, I can't rank them higher than 14th, and I'm sorry about that. So let's move on to number 13. In 13th we have Kepler, and to be completely honest, Kepler are above NMIXX and Weeekly strictly because of Mask. I don't like Wadada, but I don't hate it enough to put Kepler in the bottom 2, and Mask is probably in my top 10 songs of 2022 so far, and if these other 4th gen girl groups weren't actually pretty strong, they might have even ranked higher because of that song. But I'm looking at this list that I wrote out right now, and every single group number 12 and above is extremely powerful, and the competition is just a little bit too stiff for Kepler to rank higher than where they did. Hopefully Kepler can continue to release music like Mask, and if they do, they'll definitely rise a few spots on this ranking. So now let's move on to number 12. In the number 12 spot we have ITZY, and ITZY are only this low strictly because of their B-sides. If this was a title track only ranking, they would honestly probably be in the top 3, and it's not like they don't have any good B-sides, I just think they have fewer than the rest of the groups on this list. You know, I love Highlight, I love Mise en Scene, I love Sequence, but can I name much more than that? No, not really. And a few really good B-sides isn't enough to make up for the plethora of mediocre ones. And it's not like ITZY didn't have enough money to make good B-sides. They're literally a produce group that was formed before the whole rigging scandal, so they had a lot of money to work with, but I just don't think they used it properly. I mean, you'll see me bopping my head to Panorama any day of the week, but will you ever see me listening to a B-side off the Fiesta album? No, you won't. So that's why they're number 12, and I guess let's move on to number 11 now. At number 11 we have Purple Kiss, and their placement honestly makes me pretty sad because they would be so much higher if they didn't release their most recent mini album. I think during Zombie era they had one of the best girl group discographies to date, and the Zombie mini album was honestly no skip. I like every single song on there. But unfortunately the Mem Mem album I like 2 of the 6 songs. And you know, I can excuse one subpar mini album, that's what I did with their first one, but I really liked Can We Talk Again and Skip Skip. Even though that mini album was kind of forgettable, they had 2 very strong tracks, but the 2 songs that I liked out of their most recent mini album weren't even that good, to be honest. And I'd listen to them if they came on during Shuffle, but I wouldn't go out of my way to ever search them out. Once again, I'm not trying to discredit one of the strongest 4th gen girl group mini albums that I've ever heard with that Zombie album, but the weak spots in their discography at this point are pretty hard to ignore considering they only have 3 official releases. I'm hoping that Mem Mem was just sort of their one bad era and they can pick it back up with good music soon, but right now they've landed in the 11th spot and I'm not putting them any higher right now. At 10th we have Promise 9, and while they have a few good B-sides such as Weather, they're mostly here because they have some of the best title tracks that I've ever heard in my entire life. You know, these other groups, they have good title tracks, but Promise 9, their title tracks go above and beyond. Do they have 2 bad ones? Yeah. And are their names fun and talk and talk? Absolutely. But is every single other one an absolute smash hit? Also yes. Take DM for example, it was released this year, and is it the best title track of the year? Not exactly, but it is the most loopable one. There are very few groups out there that I would genuinely listen to their title tracks for hours on end, but Promise 9 is one of the lucky few. Well, not even lucky, because they put in hard work to make sure that the vocals on those songs sound amazing. And I just don't understand how anybody could dislike Promise. Yes, their B-sides could use some work, that's why they're not any higher on this list, but because their title tracks are just so freaking good, and also the group is just very likable, I love their personalities, that's why they are number 10.
I'm on the next level, yeah.
Above Promise 9 we have Aespa, and I mean come on, they're just trendsetters, let's be real here. Full disclosure, I think the Savage mini album kind of aged badly for me. The only song that I still go back to on there is Lucid Dream, but out of respect for the impact that they've had on the industry, and also because at one time I was obsessed with that mini album, I put them at number 9. Am I kind of mad at them because so many 4th gen girl groups are trying to replicate them and they don't do it as well as Aespa? Yeah, but you know, whenever I see one of these 4th gen girl groups trying to do experimental and then failing pretty miserably, I'll just go back and re-listen to Next Level because that song has not aged a day. I'm hoping we can get a full album from them soon. I mean, we only have 3 singles, a mini album, and an unreleased song. I personally need some more Aespa music, and once we finally get it, I'm definitely gonna eat that shit up. But I put Aespa at number 9 because of the amount of respect that I have for them as a group, and because I have more anticipation to see what they have to put out than most other groups on this list. And I mean, that's just proof of their impact. Okay, on to number 8. So I'm more like desperate for them to have a comeback. I'm kind of in this state right now where I love StayC's music if I think about it, but when I actually go to listen to it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've listened to this so many times before, I don't want to listen to it again. And that's also probably because each time they have a comeback, they don't release as many songs as I'm expecting them to. You know, they debuted with 2 songs, and then they came back with 3 songs, and then they came back again with 4, and then they came back again with 6. For those who can't do the math, that means they have a 15-song discography in what you could technically call their 3rd year of activity. I want to start the petition for StayC to have a full album right now. They need to come back with a 12-track album full of songs like Butterfly, Complex, So What, you know what I said earlier. And then I would probably even bump them up to my semi-ults. But I need more music, and I need it now. And then they'll get a higher spot on this list.
Boom, boom, chocolate, go up to the sky.
At 7th we have Everglow, and I know Everglow are pretty hit or miss for most people, and honestly they are for me too, but when they hit hard. And I might be unpopular when I list these songs that I like, but tell me that Pirate, Dun Dun, Adios, and First are not some of the best things you've ever heard. And if you're gonna tell me that you actually don't like those songs, then just shut up, I don't want to hear it. Let me like my unpopular songs. It took me a while to finally sit down and listen to Everglow's discography, but when I did, I was pleasantly surprised. Because they have some good freaking B-sides and nobody told me sooner. Well, Actually, okay, I have a lot of friends that are Everglow stans, and they did tell me, but I just didn't listen to them sooner. Also, a little bit off topic, but also not because I'm explaining my bias, I think Mia is one of the most charming idols to ever exist. Just the fact that her whole existence screams talent makes me like the group that much more, and she's honestly one of my favorite female idols. So those are the reasons why Everglow is number 7, and now we'll move on to number 6. Just short of making it into the top 5, we have ITZY. If you're surprised to see them this high, then you must be new here, because I would be a fool to sit here and pretend like ITZY isn't a good group when they are basically the female version of my favorite group of all time, MCND. Think about it. ITZY has 5 members, MCND has 5 members. ITZY are very dance focused, MCND is very dance focused. ITZY is more focused on rap than other 4th gen girl groups, and MCND is more focused on rap than most other 4th gen boy groups. ITZY consists of some of the most charming and sweet idols that I've ever seen, and MCND is the exact same way for me. Both of these groups have fantastic title tracks, and they have maybe 1 or 2 bad ones in their catalog. Both these groups have amazing B-sides, and though their discography isn't the biggest, they're both some of my favorites. And I just think the parallels between MCND and ITZY have caused me to like ITZY way more than a lot of other people. Do Not Shy and Loco kind of bring ITZY below the top 5? Yeah, absolutely. But I can forgive 2 bad eras when the others are all really strong. And I think ITZY deserved the number 6 spot. At 5th, we have Loona, and Loona are also pretty freaking great. I'm just gonna say it right now before someone else inevitably does in the comment section. They have the best pre-debut catalog of music out of every single K-pop group in existence, and I think even after they debuted, they're still pretty great now too. Yes, Paint the Town was a pretty big drop in quality from the rest of their music in my opinion, but I have faith after they gain a lot of popularity from Queendom that they're gonna come back stronger than ever. As a full group, all but one of their title tracks are really good, and they have some of the most memorable and just good B-sides that I've ever seen. Personally, I don't like that they have a ballad or 2 in most of their albums, but that's just my personal preference and I can get past that. And I just love going back and listening to Loona music whether it's old or new at any time of the day. I hope that after Queendom they get a lot more stable in their career because I am not ready to let go of Loona yet. And though I've had a lot of different opinions on Loona as a group over time, right now I'm in a really good spot with them. And though I am voting for Hyolyn on Queendom, I would not be mad if Loona won instead. They would deserve it just as much. At number 4, we have GWSN, and I am so bitter that they haven't released music in almost a year at this point. If you're an avid K-tube watcher, you've probably heard this before, but I agree with the people that say that GWSN have one of the most immaculate discographies of all time, and every day I curse the world a little bit that GWSN debuted under such a small company, because I'm being so serious when I say that every single song that they've ever put out besides 2 are complete smash hits, and those 2 songs are named Burn and Red Sun. Maybe it's just because I'm a sucker for cosmic, mystical, whimsical, lighthearted music, but man, do they do it so well. And if you're a fan of like Loona, WJSN, FX, any group like that, you will love GWSN. Just give them a chance. They need some sort of miracle, they need some sort of Brave Girls moment because they are too good of a group to just let go. And honestly, considering they're pretty small, if you just go out of your way to like listen to some of their music right now, you would help them out so much. I don't really know what their future looks like, but I hope that I can do what I can to make sure it'd be brighter than it would otherwise, and hopefully you can help me out there. So without further ado, let's get into our top 3.
Yeah, I'm tomboy.
So at number 3, we have I-dle or G-I-dle or Gidle or whatever you want to call them. I just want to start off by saying, yeah, Tomboy was good and you were wrong. I'm here to proudly state that I never disliked Tomboy, and I've been a fan of G-I-dle, I-dle, whatever you want to call them, since I got into K-pop. I think Soyeon is one of the most brilliant producers that has ever existed. Soyeon is probably my second favorite female idol of all time, and Minnie is up there too. And I genuinely don't care that so many people don't like them because I-dle is just one of my favorite groups ever. I can always trust them to put out good music when they make it themselves. Sadly, that's why I wasn't the biggest fan of most of Mion's mini album, but when I see any of Soyeon, Minnie, or Uki on the credits list, that's how you know it's gonna be a hit. They deserve their number 3 spot on this list because they put so much hard work into everything that they do, and they're just awesome. Come on now. In the number 2 spot, we have IVE, and I know what you're thinking, but Juice, they only have 4 songs, and well, it's not my problem that all 4 of their songs are 10s out of 10s. Yeah, IVE has only put out 2 single albums in their entire career, but I'm obsessed with both of them. Contrary to a lot of other people, I got 11 on first listen. I love both of their B-sides. I love Love Dive with every bone in my body, and I just don't feel the same way about other groups that I do IVE. You know, some groups, they just click with you, and that was me with IVE. This goes against almost everything that I've ever said on my channel before, but I actually put them in my semi-ults when I heard the highlight medley, like the one for 11 when they didn't even have one full song yet. I don't know, I just knew I was gonna love this group, and I was not wrong about that, not even once. And also, just for a little bit of my own personal bias, I've used ONEUS as the thumbnail for a few of my videos. After I've seen what ONEUS has done for my channel, I mean, come on, I can't not like this group. They're one of my favorites of all time, and that's why they're at number 2. Yup, in the first spot, we have Billlie, the only 4th gen girl group that I would actually consider one of my ults. Billlie is just that group. No other group has really just not cared at all about what the current trends are and have just done their own thing and have done it so well. Billlie is the perfect K-pop group, and no other 4th gen girl group comes close to them in my opinion. And that officially concludes this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, consider leaving a like, and if you want to see more from me, consider subscribing. I know so many people are going to be mad at this video, but if you've gotten this far, you probably know that I don't have malicious intents with this. I'm just trying to share my opinions, and if I make people upset, that's okay. Not everyone has to like me. I hope you all again really enjoyed, and I hope to see you all again soon in another video. Thank you all so much for the support on my channel recently. It truly does mean a lot. All the financial support really helps with things like gas and school, and I cannot thank you all enough for watching and giving me that support. Thank you all again so much for watching, and without further ado, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.